From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is the Thunder Update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Thunder beat writer Brett Dawson. Brett, the post-All-Star break, now we're in full swing, full mode. We all know how close the Thunder is to moving up in the Western Conference rankings, but also how close they are to falling down and maybe even out of contention for the playoffs. So, considering a close call against Orlando, two more not very good teams on the schedule. How important, I mean, scale of 1 to 10, to win two more games this week for this team? Yeah, it feels weird to put a really high importance on teams like Dallas and Phoenix, but these are very important games. These are teams that are tanking. You played Dallas on Wednesday, and Mark Cuban just got fined for admitting they're not trying to win games. ESPN wrote a big story about the way Dallas is tanking. It is a franchise in disarray right now after the Sports Illustrated report about what's been going on in the front office and with the Mavs.com writers. So it is a situation where you just need to win games. And look, all that stuff can kind of rally teams. Dallas goes out and beats Indiana last night. So that's a very important game to kind of make sure that you don't let Dallas get any momentum. You want to win that game. And then Phoenix is a place where they've played very poorly. Did it last year, have done it in the one game that they've played this year. So that they're 1-3 against Dallas and Phoenix. And those are two of the very worst teams in the league. They need to correct that before they go to Portland on Saturday. Well, you mentioned going to Portland, but going to Phoenix is also, I mean, those two road venues, when they've taken really good teams there, they've lost games, and they've taken not so good teams there, they've lost. I mean, no matter the scenario, those are two places that have seemed to be a little bit of a Bermuda Triangle for the Thunder. Last year when they ended up being the 6th seed, they were in a situation where they could have gotten up. They looked like they were starting to put some things together. And I know that in the organization, people still are a little bit haunted by the fact that that team that looked like it was ready to put something together goes to Portland and Phoenix. Portland wasn't very good. Phoenix was really bad. Lost both of those games, and that derailed their momentum. That's the kind of thing you can't really have happen this week. Look, we know they probably won't win at Portland. They've lost 7 in a row. Portland this year is very good and very good at home, and they're one of those teams that's bunched up with the Thunder. But the Phoenix game is one you really need to get. There's no must-win game in an 82-game schedule, but you really need to win these games this week because the Thunder's going to have a stretch here coming up from sort of middle of March to early April. They're going to play 11 straight teams with winning records. You need to pad that record now while you can because New Orleans, Portland, Denver, those teams aren't going away. By the way, I know a lot of people are going to start peeking ahead to this time next week when Houston comes to town. Best record in the Western Conference, marquee matchup for a lot of reasons. But if you're the Thunder, you can't afford to look ahead to that game. Yeah, it would be very Thunder to lose 1 or 2 of these games and then come back and beat Houston. Yeah. But you're in a stretch now of the season where you can't do that anymore. And these guys look, I was asking guys after the game in Oakland, the loss to Golden State, what's your level of concern with just sort of where you are in the playoff picture? Because you're not far from dropping out. And everybody said, not concerned, we'll get it put together. Paul George said, I don't want to say we just want to get in and we'll make it happen from there, but that's kind of the bottom line of it. But they're not in if they're not careful, and that's the thing that I'm not saying they need to be concerned. I don't think teams get concerned, but they need to be serious. Billy Donovan said in Sacramento they talked about this coming out of the All-Star break that they were as close at that point, and I think now still just as close, if not closer, to falling out of the playoffs as they were to getting up to the 3 seed. Yeah. And he said we need to talk about that possibility because, as he put it, it's very real. And so he wanted to make that real for those guys. They need to take that very seriously this week. All right, games the rest of the week. Wednesday night at Dallas, 7:30 tip time on Fox Sports Oklahoma. Then Friday at Phoenix, an 8 o'clock tip time also on Fox Sports Oklahoma. Saturday, that back-to-back in Portland. Also Fox Sports Oklahoma, that's a 9 o'clock tip on Saturday night. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.